Chapter 161. Alex left the hotel early in the morning and made his way to the port of Vermilion City. After Alex had done all the tests he wanted to do, he realized that he hardly had any time left, and he better go to the port as soon as possible. Ellipsis. After a few minutes, Alex reached the port of Vermilion City and saw his ship anchored there. Although this port is the largest port of Kanto, it is really nothing compared to the massive ports that Alex saw in his old world. There were only 1 or 2 ships using the port in a single day, so it is not really that big. Alex knew that not many people live in the Pokemon world and could understand that only such a small port is necessary for Kanto. Especially since this world has machines that can teleport objects and usually only transport cheap goods or people by ship. Most ships transport only people and not goods, which shows how unpopular this type of transport among the companies. Alex looked around and immediately saw the big ship that looked luxurious and was guarded with 3 elite Pokemon trainers in black suits. Each of these trainers had 2 elite Pokemon with them. Thus the ships were guarded by at least 6 elite Pokemon. One of these elite Pokemon was even at LV52 and more than strong enough to defeat Alex's entire team. Alex also saw a man in a fine suit standing with a list in front of the ship's entrance. This man had a friendly smile plastered on his face with the professional attitude oozing out of him like it's second nature to him. He has a very handsome face with a sharp jawline. There were only 3 people waiting in line in front of the ship. But each of these 3 people had worn expensive and elegant clothes with a confident expression on their faces. These ships are really only for powerful and wealthy people. As Alex slowly approached the line, he saw a person who seemed familiar to him. She had worn a teal sundress with a bridal hem that reached to her knees and an orange puffy bow on her circa H.E.S.T. with a snow-white coat that reached her waist with sleeves that go over her elbows. She also had worn white sandals, which have 2 teal decorations. Although she was a very good-looking girl, she was still very young and lacked the charm of A.D.U.L.T. women. Alex would estimate her age to be between 12 and 14 years. Alex thought for a few seconds and remembered where he had seen such a person. Isn't that Jasmine, the future gym leader of Olivine City? Although she looks younger than in the games, her face is too similar that I cannot be wrong. She shouldn't be a gym leader either. I guess that she won't be a gym leader until she gets older. Alex, who got in line behind Jasmine, looked forward inconspicuously to observe her more closely. After a few seconds of hesitation, Alex put up his trademark fake smile as he spoke like a true gentleman. I'm sorry if I'm bothering you, but can I ask if you happen to be a trainer too? She looked at Alex with a collected expression and said mildly, yes. Can I help you? Alex gave a fake smile and said with a respectful demeanor, where are my manners? I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Alex Stark and a Pokemon trainer who is also traveling on this ship in the direction of Slateport City. Jasmine gave a polite smile as she introduced herself as well. Well, to return to the question. I'm looking for another Pokemon trainer for this 40-hour-long journey who would be willing to do practice fights with me. Jasmine looked surprised when she said, really? Is it allowed to have Pokemon fights on the ship? I don't want to break the rules. Alex saw her nervous expression and explained with a smile, don't you know that there is a Pokemon arena on the ship where it is allowed to fight? This must be your first time that you travel on such an expensive ship. Jasmine gave a sheepish smile when she said, why yes, this is really my first trip in such a luxury ship. You don't seem to come from Kanto. How did you get to Kanto if this is your first time in such a ship? Jasmine had an astonished expression when she asked, how did you know that I'm not from Kanto? That can't be from my looks, right? Alex, who clearly can't say that he knows her from the games, replied with a shy smile, although it may sound arrogant, I am relatively well known in Kanto. Especially among trainers around your age, so I already thought that you weren't from Kanto. Oh, really? You are famous. Only in Kanto though, and not really that famous. I only won the Kanto Rookie Tournament and am very well known by trainers around your age. By the way, how did you get to Kanto if you are sailing in such a ship for the first time? Oh, I traveled to Kanto with an ordinary ship. The only reason why I am able to travel on ship like this is that my friend got me a ticket. She has often told me that it is safer on this ship than on ordinary ships and that it is not a problem for her to get a ticket for me. Alex said with a friendly face, you really have a good friend who takes care of your well-being. You make me a little jealous. Ha ha ha. Jasmine softly smiled as she said, she really is a good friend and a very good person. I almost forgot the main point of our talk. So, do you have time and interest to become my training partner? Jasmine, who heard the invitation to a Pokemon fight, suddenly showed a confident expression when she said, "No problem, but I must tell you that even though I'm so young, I'm not a weak trainer. So don't you dare underestimate me." Alex, who saw the most aggressive expression on Jasmine's face till now, couldn't help but show a surprised expression. He didn't think that this young and polite girl had such an aggressive and confident side. Because in chapter 160 there is a bit of confusion, I explain it for people who do not understand exactly how the number came together. You could read it if you are interested. The first thing to understand is what the burned is in the game. Burned Pokemon lose 1/8 of their maximum HP each turn and their physical damage is decreased by 50%. Fire-type Pokemon, those with the ability Water Veil or those behind a substitute cannot be burned. These 50% are not taken over 1-to-1 by me but logically built into the world. Would it make sense that a level 100 Pokemon after being hit by a level 1 Pokemon's will wisp that all of its physical damage is halved? I do not think so. So in this story it depends on the level of the Pokemon, and on the level of the Pokemon it is used type and the move mastery. It should often have been mentioned in the story so that I thought that people already knew, but if not, you now know. Now we come to the content. 7. Eevee poisoned and paralyzed and burnt Crobat and Scizor in Gardevoir 402. 8. Eevee poisoned and paralyzed and burnt Crobat and Scizor in Combusken 450. Many did not understand why this bonus is so weak. To understand it better, we would have to look at these two results again. 5. Eevee burnt Combusken 310. 6. Eevee burnt Gardevoir 240. And 3. Eevee poisoned Scizor 320. As we can see on 2 and 3, Eevee does more damage with Facade because the poison comes from a poison-type Pokemon. But with 5 and 6 it's exactly the other way around. Why is that the case? Gardevoir has a much higher level than Eevee so her burned is much stronger than Combusken's burned. Although the Facade bonus is now stronger because the effect is so strong, the effect of Gardevoir, burned is unfortunately too strong. Even the stronger Facade cannot make up for the effect of Gardevoir, burned so that the damage suffers greatly. I can explain the results in more detail but don't want to bore you. But every number is well thought out so that you can try to find out the reasons even if it shouldn't be that difficult. And yes, I love to put so many thoughts into it. Chapter 162. Alex, who heard this, snarked internally, "Ha! Underestimating a future gym leader. I'm not that crazy." He gave a sincere smile when he said, "That's great. I'm quite fortunate to meet a strong trainer of my age group." Jasmine, who saw Alex believing in her statement and did not make fun of her, showed a genuine smile as she said, "Yes, I'm also happy to be able to fight the Kanto rookie champion." When Alex wanted to continue talking, Jasmine's turn to register came up and pointed his finger to the front where the man in a fine suit stood, waiting for Jasmine to come forward. He didn't say anything and maintained a friendly and professional smile, and looked at Jasmine patiently. Jasmine politely thanked Alex and elegantly went to the man for registration. Alex, who saw this confident but elegant kind of Jasmine, could understand very well why she can become a gym leader and famous Pokemon coordinator in the future. After not even a minute, Jasmine was done with the registration process and walked on the ship. After Jasmine reached the deck, she waited for Alex to arrive. Alex walked in front of the man and politely went along with the registration process. He had to give his ID card and ship ticket before he could get to the ship. They will also check the ID card's information with their database. After Alex had confirmed his data, he also got on the deck. The cruise was humongous and had a lot of luxuries to enjoy on the trip. It had a Pokemon arena, casino, bar, bonito pool, shop, library, salon, grooming place for Pokemon, massage parlor, writing room, places to play some outdoor and indoor games, and even a small theater. Although the ship was very big, there were only around 200 passengers, which ensures that it will never be overcrowded and is only for the upper class. This ship was really made only for the rich and powerful. Alex, who looked around the ship together with Jasmine, could not help but admire it. It's really a very comfortable way to travel. Jasmine and Alex separated to go to their own room after deciding to meet later at the Pokemon arena at the agreed time. The room of Alex, where he was going to stay for the trip, was big and had everything he could want. It had a large comfortable bed, furniture set in with the exquisite design, expensive paintings, a nice ocean view, balcony, lots of space, and lots of luxury objects PC, TV, chair with massage function, etc. which can waste a lot of time. This room will give you satisfaction for the money you have spent or would have spent if you hadn't gotten it for free. Alex immediately started letting out all of his Pokemon in this big room and starting light training. Although you can't really train much in this room, you can still do light training. Compared to the hotel that was built for Pokemon trainers, this one instead has the purpose of entertainment in mind. Although it bothered Alex a bit, he could not do any real training with his Pokemon for 1.5 days. Fortunately, there is a Pokemon arena where you can fight, or Alex would feel like he's wasting time on the ship. Scizor, the training addict of Alex's group, felt a bit uncomfortable on the ship. But he took it a bit better than Alex. He just felt bored and not really annoyed like Alex. By comparison, all the other Pokemon felt good to be able to take a break from training again. Although Alex gives his Pokemon free time of 1 or 2 days every month, it is too little for them. If Alex didn't provide his Pokemon enough time every day to pursue their hobby, all of his Pokemon would start to complain. Alex knew that Tuan was already trying to have the optimal balance of training and rest. Although he knew that physically he could train his Pokemon for much longer, it is not optimal for their mind. He had read in a book that when Pokemon trains unmotivated, the effect of training drops, just like humans. That's why he does not try to overwork his Pokemon. In addition, he always looks for new ways to make his training interesting. That was also a reason why he sometimes holds the Alex tournament to honor the training result. Alex reached the Pokemon arena quickly without getting lost since he had remembered the way to the arena when he first looked around. There was a total of 3 large fields for fighting, of which 2 fields were already occupied. The 4-2-1 vs 1 Pokemon that Alex saw fighting were all over LV 40, and 2 Pokemon were even above LV 50. Although neither had that great talent, the 2 LV 50 Pokemon were shallow gold Pokemon. The other 2 Pokemon were only silver and deep silver, so Alex ignored them. Alex was sure that it would be extremely difficult for these shallow gold Pokemon to reach a higher level because their potential will slow them down a lot. Because the Pokemon are already old and no longer have an evolution left, it is extremely tough to improve the potential with items. Which makes it difficult for these trainers to become more powerful. After Alex looked at the Pokemon's info, he went to Jasmine, who was already waiting on the edge of the free area. "Sorry, I'm late. I hope you didn't have to wait for long." Jasmine gave a polite smile when she said, "You don't need to apologize. You were here 3 minutes before the agreed time." Alex and Jasmine did a bit of small talk, and they started to talk about how to fight each other. After both have agreed that it is only a practice fight and not about victory, they found a good way. Both agreed that it makes more sense to hold practice fights than to have Pokemon with different strengths fight each other. A battle with a large level difference is not useful to any party. Alex gave his list of Pokemon species and levels to Jasmine, and Jasmine did the same. Crobat, 40, Scizor, 40, etc. List of Jasmine's Pokemon. Magnemite, 30. Magneton, 30. Skarmory, 34. Steelix, 42. Chapter 163. Jasmine, who saw Alex's list of Pokemon, showed a slightly bewildered expression when she saw the levels of Alex's Pokemon. In the last few years, Kanto is the region with the strongest Elite Four, even though it doesn't have a champion right now. And Jasmine was surprised that Alex was so weak as a Kanto rookie champion. Even though he has 2 elite Pokemon, both are only level 40, which was really disappointing. Alex, who saw Jasmine's surprised expression with a slight disappointment, immediately understood what she was thinking and said with a smirk, "Disappointed that I am so weak." Jasmine apologetically smiled when she said, "No, I'm sorry. I was just surprised that you could win the Kanto rookie tournament with that level." Alex, who heard this, chuckled a little and said, "I'm much stronger now than when I took part in the tournament. In the Kanto rookie tournament, I defeated 2 trainers with elite Pokemon without having one myself. To be honest, I am now many times stronger than before." Although Alex usually wouldn't disclose the information before a fight, it didn't matter during a practice fight since winning is not the goal this time. Jasmine was stunned this time when she heard this and started to ask how it happened. Alex slowly told everything that happened at the tournament and how he won. Jasmine had to reassess the strength of Alex after hearing this story. She suddenly felt that Alex is a very competent and powerful rookie champion. Haha, Kanto is really to be envied. I wish that our region also had such strong trainers. Especially the situation of Elite Four is really a sad affair. Johto, who hasn't had Bruno and Koga as an Elite Four yet, has actually weak Elite Four members. In addition, the Elite Four member Will is only 18 years old and not nearly as strong as many Elite Four members of other regions. Together with that, they do not have Lance as a champion yet, so their region is weak compared to others right now. They only have 2 week-old Elite Four trainers who have Pokémon that are too old to exhibit their peak strength. Also, they have an old champion who is weaker than some Elite Four trainers from other regions. Although not all trainers get weaker as they get old, most trainers and their Pokémon do. Probably only Dragon and Ghost-type Pokémon have a long enough lifespan to not be affected by age much. That is also the reason why trainers like Drake and Agatha do not lose strength with old Pokémon, but they rather get stronger instead. Although there are other types with long-lived Pokémon species, they are not as often present as these 2 Pokémon types. Only the Unova region is weaker with its 4 old and weak Elite Four members. Although Alder is a strong champion, he cannot pull along a whole region on his own. Unova is very weak right now, but Alex knows that soon a whole generation of strong Unova trainers will grow up and revive the region. Alex, who played the games, knows that it's only a matter of few years before Unova is swarmed by very talented trainers. Kanto, whose Elite Four members' strength is currently at its peak, is the strongest region even without a champion. Although Kanto does not have a champion, Lance's strength alone is strong enough to defeat almost all other champions from different regions. But that's not the impressive thing about the strength of Kanto, but the fact that despite being so strong, Lance is still not strong enough to become champion of Kanto. To become champion, Lance would have to defeat all other Elite Four members. But unfortunately, he cannot defeat Lorelei. Although the type advantage shouldn't be such a critical factor influencing the result, Lorelei is only a bit weaker than Lance. And therefore, the type advantage is noticeable. Kanto, with its 3 very strong Elite Four members and a ridiculously strong Lance, is at the top even without the presence of the champion. Alex, who also knows how strong Kanto's gym leaders are Koga, Giovanni, Sabrina, etc., knows that Kanto probably right now has the strongest trainers. Especially when you know that Professor Samuel Oak, the ex-champion, is still a very strong trainer and is even stronger than Lance in spite of retiring. Although Kanto is now incredibly strong, Alex knows that monsters like Steven and Cynthia will soon grow up as a trainer and strengthen their region. Alex stopped thinking about it and said, "Let's not talk about this topic. We have nothing to do with it anyway. We are the future of our region in the end. Let's talk about which Pokémon should fight each other." Jasmine nodded with a soft smile and said, "Yes, you are right." After a few minutes, Alex and Jasmine decided which Pokémon should fight one another. The first fight was Magneton versus Combusken. Although Jasmine suggested letting Magnemite fight against Combusken, Alex clearly told her that Combusken would easily win this fight even if she is 5 levels below. Alex remembers how Torchic easily defeated an Ariados who was 7 or 8 levels higher than her with 2 hits. When you consider that Combusken now has even better base values, Alex doesn't think the Magnemite can survive even 1 overheat. Only Magneton, with his own good attack value, has a chance of winning against Combusken. Chapter 164. Alex and Jasmine stood at the opposite ends of the battlefield and almost simultaneously released their Pokémon. Magneton and Combusken appeared on the battlefield almost simultaneously. Combusken appeared on the field with an excited expression. While she was waiting for the Pokéball, she heard that she was going to fight a strong opponent today and was very enthusiastic about it. Alex immediately looked at the info of Magneton. Pokémon. Magneton. LV, 30. Type. Electric, Steel. Ability. Magnet Pull. Gender. Genderless. Potential. Gold. Moves. Supersonic, Tackle, Thunder Shock, Magnet Bomb, Thunder Wave, Light Screen, Sonic Boom, Spark, Mirror Shot, Metal Sound, Electro Ball. Innate Talent Thunderbolt, Innate Talent Double Team, Innate Talent Protect. TM Toxic, TM Hyper Beam, TM Flash Cannon, TM Substitute, TM Facade. Thunderbolt with the highest move mastery, would be Magneton's primary mode of attack. Double Team, Protect, and Substitute are the moves that may lead to the failure of Overheat and thus greatly reducing Combusken's chance of winning. Although there are other moves that can be helpful to Magneton, these 4 moves are the ones Alex needs to be most careful about. Fortunately, Jasmine does not know the Combusken has Overheat and that too on expert rank. So the chance of a victory is very high if he somehow makes Magneton use Protect once. Without Protect, Magneton has no other option to directly resist the strong move, Overheat. Alex pressed the start button of their field, and the invisible shields were set up so that no trainer or other objects can be hit and get hurt. This shield can endure attack under the champion rank, which is more than enough for almost all trainers. Are you ready? Yeah, we can start. Okay, I'll slowly count down from 3. Alright, here we go. 3, 2, 1, start. Alex and Jasmine both started giving their Pokemon commands at the same time. Combusken, use Sunny Day. Magneton, use Thunderbolt. After just a few seconds, both Pokemon unleashed their moves almost at the same time. As the environment slowly heated up, a lightning bolt suddenly appeared from the body of Magneton, which struck Combusken. Combusken tried to dodge it but was still hit and sustained a relatively serious injury. According to Alex, she only had around 60% HP left. Alex, seeing how much damage Combusken took, showed no concern as he said his following command. Combusken, use Flamethrower. Jasmine also gave her next command almost at the same time. She showed an aggressive expression when she said, "Don't stop, Magneton. Use Thunderbolt again." Even though Magneton started his move a little later, he finished first and used Thunderbolt again. Combusken was hit again, and her condition was already very bad. According to Alex's estimation, another strong hit would make her unconscious. Jasmine, who saw this too, stopped showing an aggressive face and calmed down. After taking a relatively long breath, she said, "Magneton, use Protect to block its next move and then use Thunderbolt to end this fight." Although she can use Thunderbolt right away, it's a bit risky. Because if Combusken's attack hits critically, she will lose the battle instantly because of it. Alex saw how Jasmine could be aggressive and calm and clever depending on the situation. He couldn't help but be impressed by her composure during the fight. For her age, having such good control already is quite remarkable. Although it's not Alex's fighting style, he can't claim that it's an inadequate fighting style. Combusken used Flamethrower against Magneton, who blocked it with Protect. Combusken, use Overheat and then Protect. Jasmine, who heard this, immediately showed a serious expression as she immediately said, "This is bad." But Magneton, don't worry and keep on using Thunderbolt. Both Pokemon had started preparing their moves simultaneously, so the move mastery will decide which move will be finished quickly. Although Magneton finished just at the same time as Combusken did, its attack was faster. Next second, a flash and a blaze of fire appeared on the battlefield at almost the same time. Thunderbolt was very fast and didn't give Combusken any time to use Protect. Combusken was hit and fell unconscious to the ground. Magneton tried to dodge but also couldn't quite make it and was hit by Overheat. Despite trying to remain conscious, he still passed out after a few seconds. Overheat on the expert move plus Sunny Day on the expert move from a fire-type Pokemon against a Magneton with a bad SP. Def and HP dealt Magneton ridiculously high damage. Magneton, which was 5 levels higher than Combusken, was knocked out unconscious with only one hit. Alex, who saw how he made a small mistake, was relatively dissatisfied with the draw. He didn't consider Thunderbolt's fast speed and that it didn't even take half a second to fly 20 meters. Although it is slower than actual lightning, it is still a very swift move. Alex suppressed his self-criticism and went to heal Combusken, who fought very well. Jasmine went to her Magneton to heal it, but unlike Alex, she had a joyful expression on her face. She was really happy that she got to fight Alex, who was such an exceptional trainer at his age. She likes to fight strong trainers, especially when they are of the same generation. Alex healed his Pokemon and honestly told Combusken that it was his fault that he only got one draw. Combusken didn't show the grateful expression that Alex had imagined, but a look like, "Why are you saying something obvious?" Alex, who saw this, could only inwardly say to himself to control his emotions, "She is a child. She is a child. She is just a child," and suppress his need to hit Combusken's head. Jasmine said with a satisfied smile, "That was a good fight." Alex gave a fake smile when he said, "Yeah, that was a really good fight." With this, both of them have gained great experience. Yep. Are you ready for the next fight? Okay, give me a minute, and we can start Bastiodon vs Skarmory. Chapter 165. After a short break, Alex and Jasmine got their next Pokemon out on the field for the fight. Alex immediately looked at the info of Skarmory. Pokemon. Skarmory. LV, 34. Type. Flying, Steel. Ability, Keen Eye. Gender, Male. Potential, Gold. Moves, Leer, Peck, Sand Attack, Metal Claw, Air Cutter, Fury Attack, Feint, Swift, Spikes, Agility, Steel Wing. Innate Talent Taunt E. Innate Talent Rock Slide, Innate Talent Sky Attack E. TM Toxic, TM Roost, TM Flash Cannon, TM Substitute, TM Facade, TM Swords Dance, TM Fly, TM X Scissor, TM Sandstorm. Although the Skarmory was not weak, it had no move that could deal hefty damage on Bastiodon. Only Skarmory's Steel-type moves can inflict normal damage to Bastiodon, which greatly limits the ability of Skarmory to attack. Alex knew that he only had to watch out for a few tricky moves like Swords Dance, Roost, and Taunt in order not to lose this relatively easy fight. Now then, are you ready? 3, 2, 1, start. Bastiodon, use Rock Polish. Skarmory, use Taunt. As both Pokémon prepared their move, Alex showed a calm expression. He didn't care whether Bastiodon prepared his move quickly because he knew that Taunt couldn't interrupt Rock Polish. He has tested the move Taunt a lot and read about it. Thus he understands how the move works. Alex knows that even though Skarmory's Taunt is on the expert rank, it can't affect the expert moves like Rock Polish. Only if Skarmory was at the same level or a higher level than Bastiodon, Taunt could also affect the expert move of Bastiodon. Jasmine, who doesn't know what moves Bastiodon has on the expert rank, had a tensed expression. She hoped that Rock Polish was not an expert rank move. Because this one move compensates for Skarmory's speed advantage and will make the fight very difficult to win. Skarmory and Bastiodon both got finished at the same time and used their moves simultaneously. Jasmine showed a calm expression as she gave her next command. Skarmory, use Swords Dance. Bastiodon, use Flamethrower. Jasmine gave a small smile when she saw Skarmory start preparing his move a bit quicker. She thought, that's good. As long as Flamethrower doesn't happen to be on the expert rank, Skarmory will finish first and will have enough time to use Protect. Alex, who can only use almost attack moves, didn't show a calm expression. Although Bastiodon doesn't have a strong attack, the strength of an effective expert moves against a Pokémon with a mediocre SP. Def and HP are strong enough to do a lot of damage. Although Bastiodon started a little later, he finished first and projected a jet of flames in the direction of Skarmory, who was just preparing his move. Skarmory couldn't avoid it and was hit by the flames. He made a painful expression when he was struck. Although he wasn't seriously injured, he lost around 30% HP from that one hit. Alex, who saw the amount of damage with satisfaction, said calmly, use Flamethrower until you win. Although it is a simple and straightforward tactic, he had taken all possibilities into account. He selected this as it was the easiest and safest path towards victory. Alex does not believe that Bastiodon can be knocked unconscious so quickly before using the Flamethrower 3 times. Jasmine knew she had probably lost but didn't show a sign of giving up. She started to think about what options she still had left. Hit and run. No, that's useless. Bastiodon can increase his speed quickly. Spikes. Spikes is not bad but too slow to defeat Bastiodon with it. After few seconds, she began to carry out her next plan. Skarmory, use Swords Dance again and then Steel Wing. Although it is not the best tactic, she has no other choice. Bastiodon, who has Rock Polish on the expert rank, cannot be defeated by speed. So it makes no sense to use the move Agility and all other tactics are too slow. Bastiodon finished and used Flamethrower again against Skarmory, who was preparing his move. Then he immediately started preparing the subsequent Flamethrower. Skarmory endured the pain and started using the move Swords Dance after the preparation of almost 1 second. Then he started preparing Steel Wing. Bastiodon had quickly prepared his move, and he used Flamethrower again. Without wasting any more time, he used the prepared Flamethrower on Skarmory's steel body. Skarmory, who was hit by Flamethrower for the 3rd time, showed a painful expression, and half of his body was fiery red. Although the steel on his body did not melt, it showed an unhealthy color of red. And now, he had only around 10% HP left. Even though Skarmory was hit, he managed to finish the move using Steel Wing. Fortunately for him, Bastiodon was only 5 meters away, so that he could use it immediately. Bastiodon was hit by the move Steel Wing and had a small wound on the head. He only lost about 15% HP from this hit. Alex, who saw this, showed a surprised expression. A pleasant surprise. He didn't expect that Bastiodon would only take so little harm. Especially since Bastiodon has not buffed himself yet. Alex could only imagine if Bastiodon had used iron defense beforehand how little damage he would have taken. Bastiodon is really a monster against Pokémon that can't hit him effectively, thought Alex. Jasmine, who saw how little harm this attack did, said immediately, "We're giving up. Your Bastiodon is really too unfavorable an opponent for my Skarmory." Alex, who heard this, gave a polite smile when he said, "Yes, I can understand that. Bastiodon really is a natural enemy of your Pokémon. It doesn't have a good counter move for my Bastiodon." Well, it was still a good fight. Yep, definitely. Jasmine again showed a confident expression when she said, "Let's talk about the next fight. I think because you have two elite Pokémon, you can choose which one this Pokémon should fight against my Steelix." Alex, who doesn't think he'll lose, said, "Okay, I'll pick one at random. And since we are going to fight tomorrow too, it doesn't matter whom I choose since it doesn't make a difference anyway." Chapter 166. Alex suddenly had a good idea while thinking about which of his Pokémon should fight against Steelix. Alex's other Pokémon also stood on the edge to watch this fight. He called out Crobat and Scizor from their Pokéballs and said, "We'll decide the one who will be fighting through a little game." Crobat and Scizor looked at Alex confusedly when they heard these sketchy words. Alex started to smile when he said, "I'm going to think of a number from 1 to 10 in my head, and you have to guess which number I came up with. Whoever is close wins and can fight Steelix." Crobat looked with scornful eyes when he heard about this game. He felt that his trainer really had no imagination and could only come up with such stupid games. Scizor showed an indifferent expression in contrast to Crobat. He didn't care what stupid game Alex came up with as long as he got to fight. "Okay, both pick a number from 1 to 10. Scizor immediately stated the number, 5. Crobat, who heard this, immediately showed dissatisfaction as he said, "Hey, why do you get to put a number first? I want the number 5. Why don't you choose number 2 since you are also no 2? Is that so? Then, you should choose the highest number 10, perfectly representing your bloated stomach and your weight, you fat bat." Alex, who had no time to waste, in Terabang, stopped their bickering immediately before it could get worse. "Crobat, take another number and stop complaining." Crobat showed a displeased expression before saying, 6. Alex nodded and said the number he had imagined. The number was 8, and Crobat wins with the number 6. Scizor looked annoyed when he said, "Why is that arrogant bat always so lucky?" Crobat showed a gleeful smile when he said, "This has nothing to do with luck. Instead, it's all about ability. But I can understand that with your lack of talent, you haven't been able to realize that." Scizor's eyes twitched when he heard this. He said, "Irked, HMPH. I'll enjoy watching you lose this fight." Crobat smiled when he said, "You mean like in our last fight where you lost to me, and you were bleeding on the floor after getting unconscious?" Scizor immediately got mad when Crobat mentioned the fight. "Shut up. I only lost because you kept running away like a coward. Haha, says the idiot who will do the same if he can win like that. Don't you feel ashamed to show your double standards? Hey, fat bat, I advise you to shut up now, or else I will show you that your last victory was only a fluke." Alex showed an annoyed expression when he said, aloud, "Shut up, both of you. I don't have time for your nonsense. Scizor, go where others are standing." Scizor showed an annoyed expression but did as Alex told him. Jasmine saw the Crobat was on the battlefield and pulled out Steelix's Pokeball and released him. Steelix, who was more than 10 meters long and with its head being more than 6 meters high, appeared in front of Alex. It had its head high as he looked down at the battlefield. Alex, who saw this giant Steelix, couldn't help but feel a little bit intimidated. The field is a bit smaller than at the Kanto Rookie Tournament, so the Steelix looks even bigger and more intimidating than it should. While the giant size of Steelix still allows Crobat to use hit-and-run tactics, it is not very effective. Fortunately, Steelix is a slow Pokémon, so this tactic is still very effective against him. Pokémon, Steelix, LV, 42. Type, Steel, Ground. Abilities, Sturdy. Gender, Male. Potential, Deep Gold. Moves, Bind, Fire Fang, Harden, Ice Fang, Mud Sport, Tackle, Thunder Fang, Screech, Rock Throw, Rage, Rock Tomb, Sandstorm, Slam, Rock Polish, Dragon Breath, Iron Tail. TM Protect, TM Roar, TM Toxic, TM Taunt, TM Hyper Beam, TM Dig, TM Facade, TM Rest, TM Sleep Talk, TM Euro Ball, TM Stone Edge, TM Dark Pulse, TM Substitute. Alex, who read the information, had to change his opinion a little bit. He couldn't help but think that this will be a very challenging fight. First, Crobat cannot use many of his best moves, and he also has a level and type disadvantage. Moves like Cross Poison, Toxic, Sludge Bomb, Taunt are completely useless. And moves like Fly, Swift, Facade are severely weakened. Especially the fact that Crobat cannot use the move Taunt to prevent Steelix from making himself fast with Rock Polish is very annoying for Alex. Crobat actually only has one good move that can win him the fight, and this it is none other than his good old pal, Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball does not hit Steelix effectively. But since it is an expert rank move that does special damage, Steelix with his weak SP def will suffer a lot of damage. Unfortunately, this fight is still unfair on paper for Crobat, who is heavily countered. Alex thought about a tactic he just came up with to increase Crobat's chance. Although these tactics weren't very well thought out with various options, Alex didn't have enough time to strategize a better tactic. But even with this disadvantage, Alex was quite confident for his victory. As long as Jasmine doesn't pull up a surprise tactic, this should be a sure win, thought Alex as he considered his tactics. If I had more time, I could probably come up with a better plan. Well, it doesn't matter anymore. He also didn't really care because it's not about anything. In the end, it's just a practice fight. Let's see what happens. Crobat and Steelix were getting ready to fight in the arena when Alex pressed the shield button. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Chapter 167. After the start signal, Alex and Jasmine started giving out their orders at the same time. Crobat, use Shadow Ball while maintaining a distance of 40 meters from Steelix. Steelix, use Sandstorm. Although most Pokémon can dodge an attack from Crobat over 40 meters, Steelix was an exception due to his towering height and sluggish speed. And Crobat, who was 40 meters away from Steelix, could easily dodge all of Steelix's attacks. Thus, this combat range was optimal for Crobat. Crobat finished first and sent a purple-black ball in the direction of Steelix, who was still preparing his move. Steelix couldn't evade and was hit by Crobat. Even though he was hit, it didn't look like it did much harm. Alex would estimate around 10–15% HP was lost. When Alex saw how Crobat's best move only did so little harm, he couldn't help but be happy that he didn't use a physical attack. If that were a physical move, Alex thinks it would have done less than 5% damage. Internally, he was really glad that Crobat can use Shadow Ball along with it being on the expert rank. Crobat, keep on blasting Shadow Ball. Steelix, who had prepared his move, covered the whole battlefield with a stream of sand. Jasmine hadn't trained Sandstorm like Alex did to make it as dense as possible. And Steelix did not use a move to generate dust, so Alex could still see everything on the battlefield. Although the Sandstorm would do a bit of damage, Alex wasn't worried about a non-expert ranked Sandstorm's damage. Steelix, use Rock Polish 3 times. Alex, who heard this, couldn't help but think it was a risky move. Crobat and Steelix were only given command for one move, so the same moves were used for a short period of time. After a few seconds, Steelix was able to successfully use Rock Polish 3 times. And since the Shadow Ball is on expert rank, it is naturally faster than a non-expert move. So Crobat was able to use the Shadow Ball 4 times in the same period Steelix used his move 3 times. Steelix with 3x Rock Polish was now many times faster than before, though still a bit slower than Crobat. In order for Crobat to be able to successfully use the hit-and-run tactic, he has to be much faster than the opponent since the border limits the area and will obstruct him if he doesn't fly away fast enough. Alex remembered his childhood when he used to play catch. Even if Steelix is slightly slower, it is easy for him to intercept Crobat in this limited area. For example, you play catch in a 10x10 meter space. Even if the person running away is a bit faster than the catcher can still easily catch the person since the runner will have restricted places to run. The catcher has to be a good deal slower than the person running away for him to not be able to catch up. Jasmine knows that too but chose not to chase after Crobat right away. She gave her next command, Steelix, use Rest. Alex, who saw Steelix start preparing this Rest, said with a winning smile, Crobat, fly in front of Steelix and keep on using Shadow Ball. Jasmine was confused when she heard this. If Steelix uses Rest and Sleep Talk, Steelix can use a random move. So it's disadvantageous for Crobat to be in close range of Steelix as he could get hit by melee moves of Steelix. Crobat started using Shadow Ball and hovered in front of Steelix, waiting for Alex's next order. Steelix, who had already received 7 Shadow Ball, had wounds all over his body. It looked like he didn't have much HP left. His body fell asleep on the floor, and after only 1 second, all injuries on his body were almost gone. Alex, who saw how powerful the healing power of rest was, wasn't even a bit surprised. He knows from practice he did with Eevee in books he has read how powerful the move rest is. But it is not without any cons. Rest that is not on the expert rank will make the Pokémon sleep for a very long time. If you are unlucky, you may get attacked 10 times by your opponent before you wake up. Alex smiled when he said, Crobat, use Haze. Although Haze cannot remove all of the reinforcements, it can remove most of them. Jasmine, who heard this, showed a grave expression but didn't know what to do now. Before the fight, she had the feeling that she would win easily. But now, she noticed how Alex totally led her by the nose in this fight. Jasmine thought for a moment, but she couldn't think of anything in this short time, so she helplessly said, Steelix, use Sleep Talk. Crobat, who started earlier, used Haze and lightly hit Steelix, who was currently sleeping on the floor. Crobat, used Shadow Ball while keeping a 40-meter distance. Jasmine, hearing this, knew she was in a very bad position. She could only hope that Steelix would wake up soon before getting defeated by Crobat, which was really unlikely. If she had known this beforehand, she would have preferred using Stone Edge, which has a large attack area. Although Crobat could dodge most attacks due to the 40 meters gap, it wouldn't be impossible to hit Crobat often and fast enough for Steelix to win. But this method is very dependent on luck and only be successful if the goddess of luck gives her a blessing. Jasmine wasn't ready to use a tactic that only had a 25% chance of success in a fight where she thought she had the upper hand. After Steelix woke up, he only had around 20% HP left. Even though Steelix woke up, he was too far and too slow to hit Crobat. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. You know, Murphy's Law. Steelix and Crobat fought for another 40 seconds before Steelix lost unconsciousness. When Alex looked at the unconscious Steelix on the floor, he couldn't help but think, easier than expected. But if Rest had been on the expert rank, this fight would have become more difficult. Not that it's important. Crobat, who didn't have a wound on his body, showed an arrogant expression as he looked in the direction of Scizor. Alex, who saw this, couldn't help but think, Crobat, if I were the trainer of Steelix, I would have beaten you with as much difficulty as snatching candy from a kid. Well, it doesn't actually matter. Although Alex thought that he had gotten a bit arrogant, he really had some good ideas to use Steelix's moves and strengths optimally. Jasmine, who saw her mighty Steelix unconscious, couldn't help but think, how did this happen? I've never been so badly defeated by Pokémon on almost the same level, not to mention even lower level. Steelix is so strong, and yet he easily lost because of my incompetence. After a few seconds of grief, she gave a long sigh and thought, I need to become a better trainer. When she had this thought, she couldn't help but look in the direction of Alex. Chapter 168. Jasmine healed Steelix and then went to Alex. She said with a restrained smile, Good fight, Alex. I learned a lot from this fight. Alex gave a friendly smile when he said, Yeah, this was really a good fight. I'm glad you can see the outcome of the fight in a positive light. Jasmine's smile became slightly bitter. I'm actually still a little bit shocked. I knew my tactics skills were bad, but I didn't think the tactics could make such a big difference. That depends. Sometimes making various decisions can be easier because of the tactics you have chosen. If your opponent doesn't have the correct counter for your tactics, he will only be walking towards his own defeat. I can tell you in more detail about it if you are interested. Jasmine's face immediately became bright when she heard that. She said excitedly, Really? That would be really great. Alex slowly began to teach Jasmine the basics of using and learning tactics. Though it doesn't give him any immediate advantages, Alex thinks that this action will later help him a lot. Giving a favor to a gym leader and building a positive relationship can only be a great benefit. Although Alex doesn't need this desperately because he already has a good relationship with Steven, it's not bad to build more relationships with a more powerful person. Alex told her the most essential basics to make an effective and suitable tactic for her Pokémon. He also explains to her that it is important to always have plans B and C ready. There were lots of things to consider. Alex felt that he could talk about it for hours. But because of the time constraint, he only taught basics. Jasmine, who had heard so much unique knowledge from Alex for 30 minutes, now had a look full of respect towards Alex. I can now understand how you defeated 2 elite trainers without an elite Pokémon. I learned a lot from you today. Thank you very much, Alex. Alex showed his trademark fake smile as he said, no problem. We're half friends already. Haha. Jasmine nodded sincerely and thanked Alex again. Afterward, she asked if Alex had time for more fights tomorrow. Alex nodded and realized that it was time for his Pokémon to eat. He and Jasmine separated for today and went to their own rooms. After entering the room, Alex started preparing food for his Pokémon while thinking about the practice fights. To be honest, he was a bit disappointed that Jasmine was so clumsy. But he knew that she will be a really strong trainer in the future. Not to mention, she is 3 years younger than him, so it is understandable. The fact that she is an elite trainer at this age is already a very remarkable feat. She is younger than Misty and still only a little weaker than her, which really shows her potential. Especially her Steelix, which is an extremely powerful Pokémon if used correctly. During the ride, Alex and Jasmine trained together again and let their Pokémon compete against each other. All the fights. Magnemite vs Combusken. Jasmine wanted Magnemite to fight Combusken at least once. Because Combusken is too strong, Alex suggested that Combusken couldn't use a fire-type move in this fight. Because of this condition, it was a very close fight. In the end, Combusken was able to just win by using the double kick, even though she was knocked almost unconscious. Magneton vs Eevee. This fight was relatively equal. Eevee appeared stronger than Magneton, but because of her bad HP and SP def, it was a very close fight. Especially because Eevee has no attack move on the expert rank while Magneton has Thunderbolt on the expert rank. In the end, Magneton was able to win when Eevee was paralyzed and too slow to reach Magneton. She used rest, but because it's not on the expert rank, she couldn't wake up early and was defeated. Skarmory vs Ditto. This fight was decided relatively quickly for Ditto, who easily won thanks to Alex's tactics and its level difference. Even though Ditto transformed into Skarmory and had no expert rank moves, it still won relatively easily. After Ditto used Taunt, Skarmory could only use the utility move Taunt that is on the expert rank, and no longer use the important moves like Swords Dance, Roost, etc. Steelix vs Scizor. This fight was very balanced because Jasmine used tactics better this time and didn't fall into Alex's traps so easily. Although Alex still had a tactical advantage, he didn't try his best and gave Jasmine a chance to win this fight. In the end, Scizor was able to win this tough fight. Brick Break and Roost on the expert rank made it possible for Scizor to narrowly snatch this victory. Also, using Leer at the beginning helped Scizor well in this fight. 40 hours later, in the Slateport City harbor, the ship had finally arrived. Alex saw that he was finally in Slateport City and couldn't help but show a relieved smile. He looked at Jasmine, who was standing next to him, and said, after a 2-hour delay, we are finally here. Jasmine, who was a bit unhappy with Alex, smiled and said, you were right. The delay was really a bit annoying. Don't tell me that we haven't even exchanged our contacts yet. Wait, I'll give you my number. Jasmine, who had just entered the city, received a sudden call. She looked at the number, and her lips turned into a huge smile when she saw the number. Jasmine took the call and said, Janine, it's good that you called. I just met a really nice person. Really. Chapter 169. Alex, who was slowly strolling through the town of Slateport City, suddenly noticed that he had received a message from Maria. Maria sent a short and straight message. Alex, if you see this, call me immediately. Alex suddenly gained a small smile and started dialing Maria's number. After a few seconds, the call was connected, and Alex said, Hey, Maria. You won't believe who I was talking to just a while ago. What are you talking about? I just met a really beautiful girl who looked at me with such respectful eyes. Compared to a certain other girl, I felt really valued. Maria, who heard this, said coldly, Oh, is that so? If that's what you think, then you should stay with that girl. Then without giving Alex a chance, she immediately hung up. Alex, who was ready to say that this was a joke, heard Maria end this call. She should know me well enough to know that this is a joke. FCK, why are women so unpredictable? He quickly wrote a message that it was just a joke and called her. After reading Alex's message, she smiled a little when she thought, as a little punishment, I should let him suffer a little longer. Alex, who saw Maria ignoring his call, started to get a little bit tense. She wouldn't have blocked me, right? Alex started calling her again. Maria heard it, but she hung up again. She felt that Alex hadn't endured enough punishment yet. She will forgive him if he keeps on trying a few more times. Alex, who didn't hear an answer again, showed a nervous expression when he thought, "Fackk. What's going on here?" After taking a few quiet breaths, Alex calmed down a bit and began to think about it. Her mood must have been bad. I should probably let her calm down for a minute and then call her again. Maria, who expected Alex to call again, showed an annoyed expression when she noticed that Alex wasn't calling her anymore. Why did he give up so quickly? Unbelievable. Damn him. Maria got angry and thought about calling him and telling him that a man shouldn't act like that. Wait, why should I call this bastard? He is the one to blame and should take responsibility. Maria, who had started treating Alex more than a friend, subconsciously had high demands from Alex. She felt that if Alex really loved her as he said, he shouldn't give up so easily. Maria, whose mood was getting worse every passing second Alex didn't call her, noticed that she really cares about Alex's attitude towards her. He's just a pervert who is slightly good-looking and has a little bit of strength. There is no logical reason to like such a bastard. He's not half as good as he thinks. Not to mention how trash his jokes are. I'll tell him that when he calls. Maria's eyes briefly showed a sad expression but only for 1 second before she suppressed it. When Maria wanted to call Alex after 20 seconds, she suddenly saw Alex's call. She grinned a little bit unknowingly as she thought, about damn time. I'll have to tell him a thing or two for his cheekiness. He was relieved and happy as he immediately started speaking. Maria, that was just a joke. A thoughtless joke. I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings. Alex, who had never apologized in his old relationships, suddenly doesn't feel that saying sorry is a big deal. If he really hurt Maria's feelings due to that joke, he should just apologize. Holding her TRH device in her hand, Maria was happy inside but said coldly, you think my feelings would get hurt because of your lousy joke? Quite an ego you have. Alex, who heard these sharp words, felt that Maria was really angry. Normally, she would bring up a joke like, those who live in glass houses should not throw stones. But he did not want to worsen Maria's mood right now. He will continue to joke but not criticize Maria indirectly with it. At least not today. He knows from experience that there are days when women can be easily annoyed. Though he never paid attention to anything before and always said and did whatever he wanted. Alex didn't love his old girlfriends, so it didn't matter if they were in a bad mood. As long as they fulfill their purpose, nothing else matters. He knew that his girlfriends liked or even loved him, but that didn't matter to him. In fact, it annoyed him a bit that they couldn't see what kind of person he was. Maria's cold and arrogant personality has a great attraction to Alex, who is also very arrogant and indifferent. Alex felt this kind of charisma from Maria that somehow strongly impressed him. He would say that she fulfills Alex's expectations on point. That cold eyes, the self-confident attitude, the calculated behavior, and a dreamy body with a perfect figure and a flawless face. Alex laughed when he said, "Oh, really? Haha." Maria's smile widened a bit when she heard Alex's childish laugh but said sternly, "Alex, can you even be serious for 1 minute? I wanted to talk to you about something, and you don't do anything but nonsense. Are you a man or a child? To be honest, Maria, I don't want to change how I act in front of you and my family. I can get serious when required, as you know. But when we just talk like that, I want to stay genuine like this." After a few seconds, he continued, "Besides, if you want, I can show you whether or not I'm a man. Are you done, big man? It is unbelievable that you have such a side to you. When I talked to Lars and Brand about you, they talked about how emotionless you can be." Although Maria said it with a vague tone, she was really glad that Alex showed her this side. She also tries to be less cold to Alex, even though it was difficult for her. Alex, who can't see Maria's face, got the feeling that Maria was a little happier now than before. At least he hoped. It's really easier to read her when I can look at her face. Alex started to say in a sincere voice, "Maria, I've only shown this side of myself to my family and you so far. You should understand what that means." Maria didn't say anything for a few seconds until she said in an almost inaudible voice, "I know. I like this side of you." Alex, who heard this almost whispered answer, couldn't believe Maria just said that for a moment. His face immediately brightened up as he happily continued his stroll through the town while holding the TRH device. Chapter 170. Alex hung up after 5 minutes of talk with a pleasant smile on his face. He felt today, in particular, was a really good day. After he stepped into an abandoned alley, he took Ditto out of the Pokeball and wore it as a mask. Since he's already in Slateport City, he should not miss the chance to go to the black market to buy and sell all the silver Pokemon. Although there is a chance that someone will find that the sales figures rose sharply for a day, it will only be considered an unusual day. No one will think much about it. If something a little strange happens once, everyone will turn a blind eye. Only when it happens several times in a row will people start to question. Since Alex was not gonna stay in this city and sell Pokemon for one day, he doesn't have to be extremely careful. But he still changed his clothes and face. Better safe than sorry. He opened his TRH device and looked for the entrance of the black market in Slateport City. 3 hours later, Alex left the city with the money he had earned in the last 3 hours. He found 16 silver Pokemon in the whole of black market and sold them for 728,000 Pokédollars. Unfortunately, he can't do this too often in a city, or he would have been pretty rich by now. Alex saw that he earned more than $500,000 within 3 hours and already had an idea of how he can make full use of this opportunity. While he is staying in the Hoenn region, he will visit every big city and do the same thing he just did now. Alex didn't plan to stay long in Hoenn anyway, and this method was highly profitable. 158,000 TR points. 760.010 Pokédollars, a little less due to daily expenses. Alex didn't intend to stay long in Hoenn anyway, so he ought to make the best use out of this trip. To be honest, Alex was still hoping to find a gold Pokemon to make some real money. He has seen several thousands of Pokemon's info in black markets and only found 2 gold Pokemon. Even with his cheat, finding gold Pokemon is ridiculously rare and can be found only with luck. Alex thought for a moment and started typing a message to Steven that he will be in Rustboro City in 3 days. He planned to fly to every big city with the help of Crobat for 3 days to buy and sell silver Pokemon. With Crobat's speed, he can reach every moderately large city quickly and safely. The Hoenn Rookie Tournament, in which Steven is participating, will only start in 49 days. So Alex can take a little time to do his own thing before meeting Steven. Alex didn't think much longer and made a way with the help of a map, so he can reach all the big cities as quickly as possible. 17 big cities are Alex's destination for 3 days, with Rustboro City being the last one. Although there are still small towns, not many Pokemon are sold on their black markets, so it is probably not worth it. He was excited about what he would find and how much money he would make. 3 days later, in Rustboro City, Alex, flying on Crobat, got on the ground as soon as Crobat landed with a faint grin on his face indicating how successful his plan had been. These 3 days were pretty exhausting for Alex, who never had time to sleep for a long time. He also looked at more than 3,000 Pokemon's info. This process was very tedious, but it reminded Alex of opening loot boxes a bit. Any Pokemon could be a big win, so Alex was never really bored. He bought 256 Pokemon during this time and sold 255 of them. The 255 silver Pokemon Alex sold were traded for many different prices. And he made 14,025,000 Pokédollars in total at the end of these 3 days. It's really a shame that he can't do that often to get rich quickly. Fortunately, Alex had already thought of a better way to get enough money quickly without any risks. Although this method needs a place where Alex can stay for longer. That's why he can't just use it yet. Pokemon. Spinda. LV. 30. Type. Normal. Ability. Own tempo. Gender. Male. Potential. Shallow gold. Moves. Tackle. Copycat. Feint attack. Psybeam. Hypnosis. Dizzy punch. Sucker punch. Unfortunately, it was the worst gold Pokemon that Alex had ever seen. Although there are no useless Pokemon, it is best to find Pokemon that require less effort to make them strong. Above all, the fact that his 3 innate talent moves are not particularly suitable for the Pokemon made it a bad gold Pokemon. In addition, without further evolution, it is difficult to increase one's potential. Alex can obviously make this Pokemon stronger. But he does not want to spend effort on a mediocre Pokemon with whom he has no emotional attachment. Ditto, for example, has a lot worse potential than these Pokemon. But because Alex has an emotional bond with Ditto, he is willing to spend more money on Ditto than it actually is worth. Apart from that, Ditto has many other advantages that other Pokemon don't. Alex could also get a bronze Pokemon to gold with enough time and money, but why should he do that? It's completely inefficient, and he would only do that for Pokemon he likes. He now has a much greater expectation from Pokemon that he will be including in his family. Although this gold Pokemon is not really strong, every gold Pokemon has a market. He should also be able to get around 5 million for this gold Pokemon. Alex doesn't need money, but items that can improve the potential of his Pokemon. Lisa, who heard how Alex has a Pokemon's talent again, was less enthusiastic compared to last time. As an executive, she found that getting gold Pokemon is a lot less difficult than before. They now put more emphasis on the quality of the gold Pokemon than before. Alex, who heard her tone, understood that Lisa has been an executive for several months and has already enjoyed many advantages from this position. So her interest level is lower than the last time. Even though Lisa didn't want this Pokemon for herself, she still wanted to buy it for one of her subordinates. Although Alex is also a subordinate, she quickly noticed that she could not hold Alex. So she knew that he is her subordinate only for a short period. Lars, who has good but not revealed potential, is a better subordinate for Lisa. Even if Alex got her reward from Giovanni, he wouldn't be her subordinate in the future. I recently found an item that I haven't used for. It's an item that is probably very valuable for your Ditto. Executive Lisa, can you please explain it to me in more detail? Oh, someone impatient, tilde. Quote. Tisk. As I was saying, it's the heart of a champion level Ursaring with the talent of S rank. A very rare item with its value being around 5 million at least. If you like this video, please like, comment, share and most importantly subscribe. Also click on notification bell and set it on all.